This is a different type of video because I was in the middle of doing my own morning devotional, and I've kind of got a to-do list to get through today, but sometimes this reflection space is the most remarkable part of my day, and sometimes I'm so moved by the energies that come through and who tries to connect with me. And I knew this morning, once my best friend Mercy had come through. Love you, Mercy. I know you're pretty much the whole reason I'm even chronicling my experience right now in this way, because only you would know that, like, the only way to make my ascension process and the rewards that come from it even better would be to film the whole thing and share it on YouTube. Like, that would be something you would totally want me to do. And yeah, so this is a different type of video because it's all about the messages that I need to hear, but I hope that the seed of joy that I feel in my heart chakra from all the work that I did do, which now I feel like we get to experience what it's like when the heart space is clear. It's healthy. It's been exercised, and it's strong, and I'm really humbled and grateful because I want to just share this message. But truly, like, right now, as I'm finding the words and as I'm realizing, like, I'm so proud that I'm the person that took a chance on myself, and said that it's always going to be best for me to decide what this life is for me. And I do that for all the people that aren't physically sharing the same flesh that maybe they used to, who maybe would have loved to have been able to have that knowing in their root chakra while they were walking on this earth in this way. But ultimately, yeah, I can't think of any other way to be, and I hope that right now that overwhelming sense of peace is what's also just traveling through the world and the galaxy and this universe. And I want everyone to feel like there's no other, I couldn't think of a other way to be living my life. That's how much ownership I feel like I'm taking of myself. And for me, again, Aquarian, but it always seems so, like, not special, like, so not radical. So, like, you're just catching me during the ascension, but in 50 plus years, like, everyone will be doing this sort of maintenance. Maybe that's why Mercy's making sure that I document it. Like, maybe this is really what, it's not maybe, but it's like what we've talked about. Like, your high priestess is about to get lit, you know what I mean? For what she's doing, because what she's doing is her part, and that's what we're all being asked to do. That's what we've always been asked to do, and I think the Divine Feminine has just stayed in that knowing, and things come of that, benefits come of that, grounded realities come of that, because you already know whatever value you have in your role. Like, you're the only one who plays it. So some of these shifts, some of this movements, like, duh, you know what I mean? But honestly and truthfully, like, I am so grateful in this moment to share in this way, and to think about how things will change, or probably just knowing myself, like, it'll never get old being right about stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's also Aquarian. Like, I could hear myself a million times, prove myself correct, and that's a lot, because I didn't feel sure in anything I was doing beforehand. Like, this is a new sense of pride that I feel like I've been gifted. I don't feel like I always was this way. So I'm grateful for what my objectives are at this time, and I'm grateful that I know in years to come, like, as this ever unfolding pattern, like, the print that I am, the blueprint, just gets repeated and replicated and reproduced, and makes all of me and makes my impact. So whenever this is revisited, whenever these thoughts are reopened. It lives as a living prayer. It's not like even just about anything, because right now, like, I've gotten so used to how I've been exercising myself on this channel, like no production, no anything, no judgment of even like what I'm looking at or communicating to, you know. Wow, like I'm receiving love. Like sometimes when I'm making these pauses, it's because like I'm looking at a device and it's like lighting up with like an affirmation or something. So I'll be just like, I feel so loved in my real life. And again, like once you really get some space away from things, Alexis, which you know, that's another thing I feel like it's really important. I'm proud of myself because for the first time today, I acknowledge like I am an extremely highly sensitive individual, and a lot of the karma that I experienced really early on, that I feel like took healing, um, to be back in balance on within, um, surrounded pushing my sensitivities, like really volatile, like living spaces or big crowds, really in the front of things. And I have a very nuanced nodal axis, so part of that's unavoidable, but also part of that is like self-sabotage, like not believing that the way that I feel inside is what I am. It's so funny that, you know, um, I kind of, it's been pretty radical because the real Alexis is like really, really, really detached, like is really, really, really like in space and is and is in a very stable space because energy, oh my god. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't do the work that I do if I didn't develop some boundaries, like, and it got that serious. Like I feel like God put it in my face and was like, until you, if you really, you can't commit, you can't even commit to me, like your offer is foolish. You know what I mean? Because you don't even know how to set boundaries so that you can do the work that you're saying you're gonna do for me. Like, you know, it's like it got real, dude. I had to ask the real questions, and I had to see what I was willing to commit to. But putting boundaries in place is the best thing that's ever happened. I am in love with the human that I am now because I am better to myself. Most importantly, like I think the problem was is like nobody would remember the old Alexis as like a negative thing at all. Like if you like like if there was ever a biography or like a biopic like film, like it would all be like all of the like interviews would just be like, bro, she was my best friend, or bro, like we, like I don't know, she just kind of like it would not be like I, yeah. So it's pretty ironic that like, yeah, it's like having this painful identity, um sort of public identity, you know. That's, I think that's what this whole exploration has been about, like less pain, less public pain, maybe, I don't know. It's all ironic, right? Because that's what we're doing here. But um yeah, my angel just jumped out. I have a specific deck that has my best friend Mercy. Her energy is so well represented, which is cool. And anytime she visits, it's like the best day ever, you know, which is every day. So, anyways, but I felt like I should read the passage because it's just really emotional. So, the angel, and also this is exactly what she looked like. So I will reference it. And she's holding a lily, and she had another best friend named Lily. So anyway, we're not even gonna get into who that angel is, but that's exactly what she looked like. But here we go. The angel of mercy offers us the love of God as a living reality. Okay, pause. Like, as in, like, this person, this energy, this angelic presence that I had, that doesn't walk this earth anymore, but like, while she was here, like, how she lived her life seemed so bizarre. Just like there were different presets, you know what I mean? Like we're just not like social norms, understandings were just like super different, you know? But in hindsight, I see how much like she was one of those souls that was like way too awakened in like because here's the thing, if the mass awakening is happening in a concentrated number of years because it's just like less painful that way. Like there are a lot of really bright lights that come and awaken and they're like fourth wall was knocked down, but there was like still some time before we were out of that cycle of like Pluto Capricorn, like making like the Matrix, like the end of the Matrix, right? Like we still were building some stuff in recent times, and so some really early ascended individuals just like when you're like, all right, I'm already awake, but like then that means you're just like everybody else. It's like imagine like I don't even know what the circumstance would be that, but you're like someone who already gets something, but everybody else hasn't. So you just are going to be stuck until everybody else wakes up, which you know is actually not going to be for a while. Like it's not something, it's like planetary, it's like a bigger cycle. Like you can't make it go any faster. So some lights like come and actually are the inspiration for those of us who were going to be leading the mass awakening like just before everybody else awakens. You know what I mean? So that was this energy for me. But she certainly served as the inspiration that like the love of God is like a living reality, like, and that motivates my art, that motivates my pursuits in community endeavors, that motivates how I care for my family members. It inspires like my nutrition and my connection to my body. It inspires the movement that I do. Like the love of God as a living reality, yeah, for sure. Like why wouldn't, like why not? So sure, you know, like for so long I think just identifying myself as highly sensitive was really triggering to me, but it was actually just I was just triggering myself. Like people would be like, I was like scrutinized for how much I cry, because I cry a lot. Let me just be clear, I cry a lot. I don't even know if it's like a lot like that, but like I definitely like that's a frequent part of like afternoon cry, morning cry, like it just could be like that, you know what I mean? Because I think because I have a very overactive third eye chakra and a very overactive crown, so I receive a lot, and so it third dimensionally will translate as like frequent breakages, but it like break like just like where I have to like literally like you're seeing a water barrel like leak it out the eye, like I'm having like it's just like an overflow of what I'm receiving, and so it's, but third dimensionally like it can be annoying because you're living your life and everybody's like, why you're crying so much, like I just don't know why you cry so much, you just like cry so much, you know what I mean? And it's always just been stupid to me because it's just been like, right, but my tears have always been linked or motivated by like a dense emotion as dense as a drop of water. Like that's how much it's felt. Like that's really so then to me I'm like, why would we ever just like stop at like being judgmental about the crier rather than like what are you seeing, what are you feeling? Maybe what you can offer with that sensitivity is something that will be beneficial to our greater collective awareness. Like why don't we get into that? I don't know, right? Like, but it doesn't matter because recently like I had to face a boss. Like I was pretty much in like a work environment and even just like in my own personal home and just like having like massive changes happening for me that were forcing, like triggering mad that sensitivity because so much was happening. Like so it was getting to the point where like I had to do something to break that under, like it was like the water was going to, it was like I was carrying the shame or the, I don't even want to just say shame, but the belief, you know, that like how I am, like I have any other way to be, you know what I mean? Like that's really what I was just gonna say is like when we got back to like this feeling of just like I couldn't imagine being any other way. And this is the real switch, right? You feel me today? Like it's like the real switch for me right now is like I'm going from like truly like feeling like why am I this way to I can't imagine being any other way. And that's what I'm feeling at a very individual level, and I think that changes um, the trajectory of my life from this point forward. You know what I mean? But this energy for me, I can't again, sometimes I feel like I'm God's favorite, because that's how intimately I want all of us to feel. Like, I must be God's favorite. Like, the way that my life is set up, like, which is where I feel like people see the Gemini in me, because I will always have that perspective. Like, there are certain things that are just like permanently like in my life that I just will forever reinforce that there's no way I'm not God's favorite. But at the same time, I'm also someone who goes through a lot of like highly activating like specific situations, like just on my day-to-day life, I feel like, which maybe is odd for some, but it's like we have no general range or understanding of like what the majority of people like would consider like a lot or not a lot in a day-to-day, right? So let's not just center our perspective in like when we're trying to understand like normalizing, like, yeah, I mean, but you could just be coming from like one country, one space, one continent, one coalition, one, it's not even like physical things like that, it's literally just consciousness. Like, you can be within the same continent and have like, you know, we know this. But yeah, so yeah, you know, but I feel like this energy for me has always been, this energy being mercy, has always been the thing that helps me turn it around. Like, I will hit like 10 of swords, if I could just explain the bottomless pit, like the lowest low, as in regards to my sensitivities, until like something would just really like break or change or shift, and then I'm able to really realize like how much I loved the change, how grateful I was for it. And I think that while I'm a highly sensitive person, I'm like addicted to change because of that, right? Because every time like drastic change really like is actually in my face, I realize that it's usually to get me attuned to the frequency of just like being in the posture of loving myself more, you know? So we'll keep reading. When we are faced with an unbearable situation, and suddenly there's a shift of energy or a change in a circumstance, we are being blessed by the angel of mercy. And I just know, and for a lot of us it might have been painful. Like, it's like something that really like yesterday is like today not, you know what I mean? It's like that right now. But I just know that I know who that was. I know who that energy is in my life, you know what I mean? We are helped constantly to turn our thoughts and attitudes around through the aid of divine mercy. Like, anytime I can make a pivot, anytime I'm like, no, like, anytime the despair creeps in, I just know, like, how much I can make art about it or just feel differently about it. And that's literally never usually my own strength. I feel like 1000% supported by another entity to just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Pick your crown up, queen. Like, you're still here. We're still rocking and rolling. Like, we can make this. You know what I mean? So it says, it may be in small and subtle ways that we experience mercy. It can come in the form of a friendly phone call when we are feeling despair, or a gentle boost to our confidence in circumstances where we are unsure of ourselves. It could unfold in so many situations which we do not control, or where we are affected by our conscious minds. For instance, we could meet a person who changes our lives, or we could be accepted or rejected for a job or a course of study. On reflection, we begin to realize the amazing consequences that this turning point had on our lives. This may be called mere coincidence in the rational world. I, however, prefer to accept it as the gift of mercy, who is working to make our lives filled. Dennis just messaged me and said, wow, I feel incredibly free right now. Like real time, like it's dead ass like 10 in the morning, like we're out here, like bare cheeks out here, bro. The authenticity is like, he's gonna be so stoked that I'm making a message right now, that I'm sharing this message, because this is really my private time. Like, this is not even at anybody. This is like really how I'm being touched today by the divine. So it says, what is this awareness of guidance and intervention? What this awareness and of guidance and intervention brings us is an understanding of non-doing. This means we do not have to strive and push ourselves or be harsh or punishing to ourselves because things do not work out as we wanted. Trusting in divine mercy as a gift from the angels enables us to participate fully in the process of our lives. And dude, like, I have to tell you, since I really let certain entity, like external entities, really, and not third dimensional people. I'm not talking about people or jobs. No, I'm talking like angelic presences, like things like that, like other energies that are like all up and through this dimension, just around, if you want to just like make something there work so that you can really just focus on going in. Like, I didn't really have to think about the timing of things lining up, or what things were going to line up, or like where I wanted to be. I didn't have to really think logistics. So in this time, and that's largely because I gave that it's like you need to hire, like, is what I'm hearing. Like, you need to like some of y'all need to like hire some spiritual, whether it's the ancestors, whether you just believe that the trees could support you at this time, or a spirit animal that really comes through and visits you frequently. Like, any of those entities are always around and are willing to discuss how we can redistribute what we have to do. And so when you find and can connect with entities in your life, however that may be fit, it really might support you so that you can maybe do more of the like worrying about the life, like your life. You can be more engaged in it, you know. And since I opted in, I feel like this is an ad. Like, since I opted into a higher power, everything changed for me. I literally now can wake up. No, like, seriously, like, it sounds like an infomercial, but like, seriously, like, when I opted into really like building spirit into my day-to-day, like, there's so much less that I have to really be pressed about, you know what I mean? I'm just in a space of non-doing, and I think that challenges people. It challenges like my parents. It challenges like, because they're just like, it's like, yeah, like, I'm sure from their perspective it's like, what the, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't have any conscious awareness of like how you could actually also use God to help you with your life, like physically help carry some of the weight of this, like, you don't have to just be crushed. Yeah, it's a lot, bro. You've lived a lot of lifetimes. You've done a lot of you know what I mean? So I just feel like this lifetime I came in very aware, like, nah, if I'm gonna call y'all God, you know what I mean? Like, then I'm gonna go ahead and also like opt into like what services you offer. You know what I mean? It's like having streaming services and never watching any movies. Like, why are you paying for this? Like, right? Like, exactly. Like, what this was been saying is like, this is where you also realize like we're not just suffering, like, we're not just sacrificing because like it's what's owed. Like, God brought us here in its image because it's wants to experience creation creating itself. 2222 is what I just saw. It's how long we've been filming. So yeah, Spirit's like, yeah, I didn't bring anybody here to punish you. Like, I actually am just like really here to like vibe. So once we all start setting some boundaries, once we start taking accountability for like what we require, like, hey, I'm a sensitive person, I'm standing up finally and saying I'm a sensitive person because that's just what my karma is, and that's just like what I am. So if I'm a sensitive person that has highly sensitive things, like, how can I embed that into my root chakra, meaning that I observe it in everything I do? Well, I also need to check. So like, if I'm going to the grocery store, I also need to check in with like my boundaries, right? So this is where Spirit's like, as soon as you want to like stand up and like take account for what you need, you'll stop just feeling like all the time. You know what I mean? It's only you that's really like the universe is just like, right, like, we acknowledge that you're a whole person and you have all these intricate details that are meant for you to discover so that you can make this experience better for yourself. You get me? Like, I'm talking to myself. Like, it was all about me realizing like, oh, but I'm a sensitive person, so I need to be in certain types of work, or oh, but I don't just want to overuse the word sensitivities, like, as in like, I am susceptible to energetically receiving a lot. You know what I mean? And I think spirituality allowed me to realize that because I was getting very third dimensionally sick, and you can definitely third dimensionally process somebody as having like certain mental illnesses or this, that, and the third. But a lot of times, like, if you just don't know that you have an overactive crown, or if you never get into this work, or if you never know that you have these energy centers within your vessel, oh my God, I can't imagine like what I would think was wrong with me. You know what I mean? I would be diagnosed. You know what I mean? And so for me, and this isn't even about like me advising anything on anybody, I'm talking about like my life. Like, that was like when I really started to really tap in and get more knowledge, like across different lines, across different understandings, people's different understandings of what the body is, what experience is defined as. Like, that's who I am. That's the kind of artist that I am. You know what I mean? This is still my work. This is my greatest life's work, you know, what I'm doing here. And I realize that, and I recognize that just by acknowledging who I am. Like, this doesn't even have to have production value. You know what I mean? but simply by acknowledging who I am and what I really am and what I need, what are my requirements, and knowing that I'm doing something about it, knowing that I've rerouted because I need to do something about it, because that's the whole point. I'm here. I can't go any further. There is no waiting any longer. There is no, well, I'll wait to a better time, a more convenient time for everybody to like and handle and take care of myself. No, like, what the hell? Like, that's how I was really living my life. Like, my life used to be like, I'll get to Alexis whenever, like, everybody else. Is everybody good and taken care of? Because that's, let me know, because I'll budget my time for myself whenever y'all's needs are covered. Woo! Yeah, it's crazy, you know? And then you kind of, and then a lot gets revealed because you see how many people actually also depend on you expressing in that way. And that's what's really nuanced. That's why people don't understand why I'm generally detached most of the time. Because a lot of ways they may not have never ever really known me, you know, because really me is like the part of me that's like, yeah, it's all fine and dandy when I'm able and willing and ready to receive or to offer so that you can receive, but like, how do you interact with my energy when like that's turned off? Like, you see what I mean? When it's not personal, but the third eye and the crown have to be like cut off. Like, I can't take, like, there will be times where like the boundary I have to set with people is like, I can't take in any of your energy. I can't even respond to you. I can't do any of that to you, because I like, what they don't understand or what they might take personally is that like, no, it's not even at you. It's like when the third eye is closed on Fridays and Saturdays and Mondays and Tuesdays, like, we only operate Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday till 2. Like, that's kind of how my third eye and my crown are starting, because they're able to, my third eye and my crown are so overactive in a way that they also are very they're very detail oriented. So I feel like the depth in which they're also going through that data, so it was just like computing really fast and running hot. And I feel like that's really where I was finding myself in, the loop I was finding myself in when I was relating to other people, because I was always around so much energy, and not just people, but like living in certain places, or putting myself in certain housing, or like working certain types of jobs, or, you know, whatever it really was, or whatever my hobbies were, whoever my friends were. Like, it was always just really like taking in the most. And I used to define myself as someone who was so like, I'm friends with everybody, oh my god, like, whatever, like the bitch who has like 75 kids invited to like every birthday party, like, regardless, like, because I couldn't narrow the list down. I was like, Mom, if I invite you, like, I gotta, like, it was just like, I was really like, oh, I was really, really embedded in like what was going on. And yeah, you know, and I just kind of had to really realize that it's ironic that, like, I know people may not understand it, it doesn't really matter, because like, at the end of the day, like, y'all are gonna be so focused on your own lives if you haven't already been focused on your own lives. Like, that's why I don't even really have to worry when people don't get a response from me, because I know that like I'm doing the Lord a service, right? Like, I'm doing God a real service by telling them, focus on you, trust me, you don't have to escape and come find me 3 years later. I'm not up to anything exciting, other than like my own ascension. But if you're not doing that, then you're not going to find it exciting. So then, yeah, go ascend, like, bro, and then you'll never have to reach out to me. You'll never have to try to find me, you know? And I feel like I just need to say this stuff on my heart as like an open letter to like everyone who's like wondered where I've been. Because I feel like this is probably also, Dennis was talking about how he had a vision of like my channel really taking off at a time where like by the time like these messages really like tap into whoever they're meant to be tapping into, because I feel like certain it's instructions for people as they're going through this journey, and which is when I know this will, so this is like front loading content, which is why people might think I'm really weird, because as I'm filming this, like, my 2 subscribers are my other account and Dennis. Like, it's not even about like, because again, we don't do like, I'm not doing this to connect with everybody. My goal is not to like share this with everybody. Oh fuck no, this excuse me, but yeah, no, we're definitely, that's how serious it is though. Like, it's like, no, like, no, I'm not trying, this is not a mass message. This is for those who really need it, who are brought here directly because they obviously need like this is going to be a body of work that will probably get someone through like a whole ascension process, like quite literally, you know. So I want that to be a living space. I want that to mean something. I know it's gonna have value. If this did that for one person on their journey, oh my god, like, it would change my life. That would be like 2 of Pentacles, because I know how much it really, like, it's just really real what's going on here. But Dennis was sharing that he had a vision that of a time where my audience was engaging with my messages here, this process here,
at a time when like I'm still doing what I'm doing and like my channel's very evolved, but by the time it's like backlogged, and he was saying that it's interesting because it's kind of like rewatching the art being expressed or experienced by like a world you created, and like now you're kind of like somewhere else building a different world, but then like people start pulling up to the world, that old world you created, and you're like, oh shit, okay, cool, like yeah, and then you get to re-experience it. And I think that that's like anytime I've done like any exhibits myself, it's always kind of, I feel like sharing my work has always been like that, you know, like I usually will make work that is very very fixed in its nature, meaning like we sit with the work, you know what I mean, and then by the time it's out, it's like this probably happened like 3 or 4 years ago, but you know what I mean, like the way that we're reflecting, like me starting my channel right now is only after I could like really say for sure that like I've gone all the way through the whole process. So we'll just finish here because I kind of have to piece in. It's at 30 minutes, so this is great. But this means we do not have to strive and push ourselves or be harsh or punishing to ourselves because things do not work out as we wanted. Trusting in divine mercy as a gift from the angels enables us to participate fully in the process of our lives. And I'm so grateful because also Dennis has been saying how this transition that I've been in has probably been the most graceful transition that he's ever seen me go through, which means a lot. I've been in this place before where it's just like everything's hit the fan, but I definitely know like this, I really did do this. It was so beautiful this time because I finally could really integrate the understanding and the wisdom. Like I had the wisdom before I went into the experience that like, yo, if this doesn't work out though, it's all good because it's divine mercy. Like I really finally have that awareness as I have new experiences, which also puts my sensitive soul like at ease a lot because I just don't have to have any expectations in life, which I really just never want to have. I really just don't ever really need to expect anything of anybody. And I think some people really have a problem because they want me to put expectations on them. Like so many of my previous friends and things like that have always just really wanted me to like expect them to need to be there for me, and I refuse to. I'm like, yeah, you don't have to be here, you don't even have to be a part of this. Like I could be on my deathbed and you really don't have to be a part of this. Like it's like if you're not naturally there, like I just don't have expectations of people to serve me in any way, or even grow in the same way as me or any of that. So um we can pray for the angel of mercy to be active in our lives without trying to control our circumstances. We can accept that mercy is constantly being given us, and that we can surrender to the source. We can accept the gift of mercy by being tender and gentle with ourselves and others. When we are oblivious to mercy, we are domineering and controlling, stepping on many toes, living from our ego, and opening ourselves to high levels of strife. The path of acceptance offers us mercy as a gift of unconditional love. Mercy moves us through the rough patches of our lives and onto new levels of awareness, where we are living more fully in the light of divine love. Really love you, Maris. Thanks for visiting, everybody. Everybody stay blessed.